Our final type of variable is interval, and interval variables are probably the most obvious. That is, an interval variable is going to involve a variable where the responses are set in intervals. So, for instance, I might ask you, how many cups of coffee do you tend to drink per week? Now, I could start off by asking you this just as, give me a response. That is, give you a blank to fill in here. If I do this, this is going to be a quantitative variable, right? That is, you would give me a numeric response. But in reality, I kind of doubt you know exactly how many cups of coffee you have. And so, rather than ask you this question and allow you to fill in a number that I know is going to be an approximate, maybe a better way, or a different way at least for me to ask this, is to say, how many cups of coffee do you drink per week? And give you options to choose from. So, for instance, I might say, well, is it 0 cups? Or maybe it's 1 to 5 cups. Or maybe it is 6 to 10 cups. Or maybe it's 11 to 15. Or maybe you drink quite a bit of coffee and it's 15 plus. If I do this, then I'm asking you based on intervals, right? My first interval is just 0, then I go 1 to 5, then 6 to 10, 11 to 15, and 15 plus. This is giving you intervals to choose from. Another example of this would be if I asked you about your income bracket. Now, once again, since I doubt you know exactly to the dollar how much you made last year, I could give you options to choose from. My first interval could run from 0 to 25K. My next one could run from 25K to 50K. My one after that, 50K to 75K, and so forth. Now, an important thing to realize here is that my intervals are butting up against each other. That is, the first one runs 0 to 25, next one 25 to 50, next one 50 to 75, and so forth. I need to use notation here that reflects the fact that if you make exactly 25K, I don't want you in both categories. The way we do that when we do interval notation is we tend to use a bracket on the first and a parenthesis on the second. That bracket means include that number here. The parenthesis means get close, but don't include. That is, a bracket is what we call inclusive, a parenthesis is not. So if you make 25K, you will not fit in the first interval. Rather, the second one will include 25K, run up to but not include 50. Next one, include 50, run up to but not include 75, and so forth. So this shows me another way of representing interval notation. So in review, this type of variable occurs when responses fall into certain intervals. In a lot of ways, an interval variable just gives me a different way of representing a quantitative variable, one that is often used when we don't expect people to know exactly how many times or how many things they have, but rather to give us an approximate. If we fit their responses in intervals, really all we're doing is doing the rounding for them.